Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today we continue the 52-year journey through film. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
And it is always a pleasure to have you. Today marks the halfway point in the 2000s. The aughts, the O's, the zeros. We've gone 2000, 2001, 2, 3, and this brings us to 2004, where we're talking Kill Bill Volume 2. After last week covering Kill Bill Volume 1, it only felt fitting.
Mm-hmm.
This marks only our second sequel on the 52-year journey through film. We covered Godfather and Godfather 2.
In very good company.
Indeed. And I think it's deserving. I think that's I think I'm certain of that. It's definitely deserving.
I think if only another one that could have possibly made the sequel, if it wasn't a trilogy, I'd say would be The Matrix.
Right.
That could be like deserving of another sequel or something like that. But this only having two movies and it being kind of a complete story in itself with both of them, I felt it fits, and I'm definitely glad that
Matrix would have been really interesting because both Reloaded and Revolutions came out in 2003.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So it would have been a jam-packed one there, but it would have taken the spot of Kill Bill. And frankly, it was nice to watch Kill Bill. It was so nice, and to finally have the story in full, one after the other, and fully get it. You know, like I remember bits and pieces from when I was younger, but goddamn, is this good? Like, and we'll get more into it. But let me lay the groundwork for the people real quick. This was released on April 16th, 2004. Again, written by Quentin Tarantino and Uma Thurman, directed by Quentin Tarantino. This was such a good sequel. You know, I think that's a really important not just a distinction. You know, it's not just a good sequel; it is a good movie. But as a sequel, man, this is a really fucking satisfying way to wrap up the story that's set up in the first movie.
Yes, very much so. I think, yeah, and you know, if you're watching this alone, you know, standalone, it wouldn't really hold up as like, you know, just on its own completely. You really do need the first one in order for this one to, you know, have its satisfaction and for it to work. So, you know, in the first one, it can stand alone on its own. Like, it is that good. You don't really need the second one after that. But
the second one relies entirely on the fact that you have watched Kill Bill Volume 1. Which makes sense. I think that's how a sequel should work. It shouldn't worry about setting you up again and getting you like a. I think it's good for a sequel to believe you've watched the first one. Like I think Empire does a really good job at that. Empire Strikes Back. Godfather 2 also does a fantastic job of assuming you watched the first one. Reloaded, the Matrix movies. The best sequels always assume you watched the first one, and I think that's how it should be. Yeah,
they had like a minute of recap, like at the very beginning, kind of open monologue, you know, like this is who I am, this is what I do, blah 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 blah, and then boom, right in.
And that was a really good example early on of the creative choices that we talked about last week. You know, it's like, this is really distinct. Like, this is. And I'd say this movie is less distinctive than the first movie. I think Quentin Tarantino toned it down quite a bit. I mean, obviously in the action side of things, but I don't really mind that. I like that this story was much more character driven. You know, there was a lot more conversations. There was a lot more getting to know motives and everything, and I really appreciated that. Getting to know histories, figuring out exactly what happened to get us here.
that was fucking awesome. I loved all of that.
Yeah, it was not the back and forth black and white cuts all the time, or like
Got a few.
super,
Few.
but it was like I don't know, I toned down a bit, but I think rightfully so. I don't know if like, because I mean these movies came out a year, so there wasn't, it didn't have time to sit, like that we have now. We can look back on this movie. It's been out for quite some time. I wonder if the first one, if people were like, this was too much, and that's like, maybe that is why he toned it down, or if he just wanted it to truly be character driven, and like, that's just how he always planned it. I don't know. But
yeah, I fully believe that, he probably toned it down for reception's sake. Like maybe volume 1 felt a little bit more like he was trying things, and volume 2, it seems like he figured out what he liked doing in the first one and applied it to the second movie. Like even they played the again, like they played that shit again, and this time it wasn't blended with a really orange screen and a blend between them. It was just her face, and I was like, see, that works a lot better. It's not as corny, it's not as cheesy, and but it felt like in the first one he was going for exactly what he did. So like it's real interesting to have those back to back.
This one isn't, I mean, it's still, there's a lot of fantastical stuff that happens, a lot of crazy stuff still, but not as much as the first one. This did feel a little more real,
a little bit,
little bit more.
And there is still some like, oh yeah, we're going with the fact that she's a superhero essentially, and they talk about superheroes in this movie. Yeah, digging her way out of being buried alive. That was pretty incredible. And last week I said that I was hoping we'd get a little bit more with Bud and with Ellie Driver, I think is what her name was, Ellie Driver. She was and we got plenty more with them. We kick off this movie with Michael Madsen, kind of. We hear that line again in context now in his conversation with Bill that she deserves her revenge and we deserve to die. But heck, so does she. So I love that that's the follow up there. Like,
why do you think they like that? He said that he pawned off the sword. Like, just to like, was it just like a fuck you to Bill, or something like because like,
I think it was to like emphasize to Bill, I've put this shit behind me. I'm not gonna do that. Like,
he still had it. It was in his golf bag, of like, it's just chilling in his place, like eventually, like the bride, she picks it up, that's what she uses eventually, right? Like, is that, I'm assuming that's the same sword. I don't think he had two. I guess I don't know, but
I don't think he did either.
It was the one signed, like it had the inscription on it and everything. I feel like you don't get multiple swords made by Hanzo. I think it's kind of a one and done sort of deal. If you sell it, you lose it. That's all right. You're not getting another one. It's on you to value that sword for everything it is. But man, we got to fill out the rest of that list. We got all those names crossed off. It's it was just nice to see. And I mean, she didn't directly kill Bud, but it was kind of,
it was her who got him killed.
True.
The reason Ellie Driver kills Bud is because she's like, she deserved better than that. You're a coward and a pussy.
Man, I don't know. I wanted to, like, that was the only part that I wasn't satisfied with, is that the fact that she didn't get to kill him, and I guess all that she wants is them dead in the first place. She doesn't need to be the one.
And it actually seems, I would have said at one point in the movie, it doesn't seem like she directly like wants to be the one who does it necessarily, but then you get to the end when she's taking the truth serum and he's like, you felt good killing those people to get to me, didn't it? And she was like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're both killers. They say that many, many times. He reminds her, like, I'm a killer, you're a killer. It's what we do. Did you really think your life in El Paso would work? And she struggled to say no. She did not want to say no there. She's no. And man, another performance by Uma Thurman. Holy shit. Like,
I'd say this movie's performance was better than her performance in the first one. I think she kind of narrowed in on the character and really knocked it out of the fucking park here. Like, I also think there was a lot more opportunity for her too. You know, I think there was a lot more scenes that were designed for her to shine as opposed to being an action fest, which the first one feels a little bit more like an action fest compared to this.
First one, she had her moments. You know, she had very strong moments, but this one, she could kind of
they expanded
the
on
entire
those
movie. Yeah, it was
like
a lot more moments, and basically was the whole movie almost.
It felt like it. It sure should felt like it, you know. And you know, we got Gordon Liu back as Pai Mei again, which I was very happy to see.
Man, the way he just
the beard stroke, man, and the taking it to the side and like flipping it.
he was very, you know, Bill warned her. She was like, he's gonna be disrespectful to you. You know, he's not gonna like you off the rip. You know, he's gonna be very disrespectful. Man, he was. But then, you know, he started to see her work ethic, and you know, he started to like respect her and you know, like appreciate her. And
man, absolutely, you know, and like he saw how she worked, how she did, like how she went about things. She was like, he was like, all right, she gets it, you know, and he certainly let Elle have it whenever she talked back to him.
The 3-inch punch, you know, that's all it took. And I was wondering, like, you know, at the time I'm not thinking like, oh, she's in the coffin right now, and she's just kind of remembering this, you know, as she's in there or whatever. And then like I'm like, what are, you know, like this is, I just thought like, oh, what a cool training moment, you know, like just
like we're gonna cut back in time, show us like how she kind of got to the point she's at.
A very 36 Chamber of Shaolin-esque. Perfect that it's coming from our boy.
She even did the water bucket thing. I was hoping there were like knives poking her sides if she
and then whenever it flashed back to her in the coffin, and then like, and I'm like, oh, duh, like, oh, like, come on. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then, I mean, she dug herself up there. That was
some impressive shit.
I think that the wood, you know, that's impressive and all, but like the most impressive part of that was her just
accelerating through the
tunneling. I mean, like that was nuts.
That was some nut shit. That was
the most dangerous woman on the world, on the planet. You know, she had said it herself at one point. Did. But she's scared as shit for her baby. She doesn't know what to do.
Oh man. And we've discussed this at various points throughout our 52-year journey through film. It's anytime a paternal instinct is activated in one of our characters, it just makes them so much fucking better, man. Like Ellen Ripley, we talked about her all the time last week, every time we went back to Badass Woman along our journey here. This was even more of that than last week. She felt momish at points in the first one, you know, when she bent the kid over and was like, go home to your mother. Spanked him with her sword. I thought that shit was funny as hell, but you could tell there was a paternal instinct there. And then
first one, she didn't know she was a mom. You know, she didn't know. She thought her baby was dead. And then this one, she knows that she's a mother. She sees.
Oh man, when she shows up and Bill's out there with her, and she's like, die, mommy, die. Bang, bang.
Man. And her, you know, saying like, I had to choose between the life, you know, that she deserved, the clean slate that she deserved, or the life that I knew she would be born into that wasn't fair. And I mean, however, I don't think Bill is the best father figure. It seemed that he, you know, played with her well, and they made it off to seem that he was a good father to her.
Like they made him like, it's obviously not the right scenario for a person to raise a child. Probably shouldn't have got to this point in the first place for him. And she tried to avoid it. You know, she tried to run away, and it just didn't work out. And yeah, man, it was sad. It was sad, but like, and that was one of the things that like really the relationship between Bill and Beatrix, Beatrix Kiddo, as we come to know her.
Got to start calling her Beatrix, not Black Mamba, not the bride.
Yeah, Beatrix Kiddo, and they called her Kiddo multiple times last movie, and I'd forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Kiddo. but it's just Kiddo. It's just
That's what she was born as, not her alter ego.
Nope,
Beatrix Kiddo.
Beatrix Kiddo. But nah, man, I loved the story between her and Bill, and they kick it off really strong by showing that there is certainly a love that not only, that she has for him. She walks out there and talks to him for a second. And it's a really loving interaction for a second. It gets intense, at points, and it's like, oh, so it's also very toxic. But she certainly has a love for him.
Mm-hmm.
And over the course of this movie, seeing it unfold, and the kind of mirror to the end of the first one with the interaction with Oren to Bill as he went down via the 5-finger death blow or whatever the fuck. Exploding heart technique.
Yeah, man, what a way to go. I was wondering, like, after she did it to him, I'm like, wonder how long it takes for your heart to explode. Like, I wonder how long it takes to set in, or if, like, is his heart, like, already gone, and he's just willpowering it out until he goes or whatever.
So. I think it takes a second, and I loved it though. The how do I look? You look ready. Stands up, buttons up, and walks away.
She's probably going to say, like, well, you look like shit, telling the truth serum, there. So the nicest thing she could have said truthfully is, yeah, you look ready. Yeah. But man, yeah, opening up with them, seeing like how the massacre took place at the wedding rehearsal.
Oh man, that was... I knew it was devastating, the whole thing, but we only saw the aftermath and then her getting her brains blown out. But man, the imagery of it, like them walking into the church and hearing
you see the people, you see the family and you hear them all talk, and like you see her turn around and be like, this guy's starting to piss me off. I'm gonna go get some fresh air. Like they're friends, and like you get all these little, like the moment that you had with them, you're like, oh, okay, like people. And then I forget, like, oh yeah, all of these people die, like in here. Like I kind of forgot that, like, oh yeah, all these people are dead.
Well, and what's interesting too is that they show us a camera angle that is the same as a picture they showed us of the Deadly Assassin team in the first movie.
Man. And
it was just
Samuel L. We got Samuel L. Jackson making a little
back
cameo
in another small role. I love him making a cameo here as Rufus. He's the piano man.
He's playing suggested the perfect song for their wedding. Man, I don't know. I wasn't thinking that they were all gonna die until like it happened, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. Like I forgot that this is what started everything here. And it was just an overreaction.
Oh man, that whole interaction, man. I loved, I think I liked the style of the first movie more, and just like it was more exciting overall. But I think the story here is a lot better. I think it unfolds in a lot more satisfying way. It just completes the story, and I guess I am taking into account kind of how it's completed the first one, because that is a key part of the story, but it is all one narrative. This is just the back half of it. And goddamn, it was good.
Maybe we were introduced to the world in the first. We were, my mind was blown. I'm like, wow, this is this is unique. This is original. There's nothing else like this. And then this movie, I'm like, now I'm just in the world. Now I'm learning all the history. I'm getting all the backstory of why I should care about these people or not care about them.
And this was integral in getting me to care about Beatrix. Last movie, I was like, man, I feel bad for her, but I don't know her. We pick up from her. She's just on a vengeful streak. This is the movie where you get to know Beatrix. And she has moments in the first movie that make you sad, that tear at your heartstrings a little bit. But going back and watching it now, it would hit a lot harder, I think. Post Volume 2. It's just it all goes together way too well.
Life. Yeah, she was just trying to live a normal life. And whether as a killer or whatever, whether you can or not, she was going to try for her daughter. And I love the, like her saying that, before that strip turned blue, I was yours, I would do anything for you. I would kill anyone for you. But the second that strip turned blue,
it was somebody else that I was doing it all for.
Yeah. And man, what, it was a very, that ending, him going into his spiel, talking while the truth serum was setting in, about the alter ego and how Superman's his favorite. That was cool, cool little mention of.
Oh yeah. I'm a sucker for DC and Marvel. So hearing him be like, I'm a huge fan of comic books, my favorite Superman. And the way he explained it was actually pretty sound, I have a different perspective of the Superman Clark Kent dynamic than Bill does here, but the way that he goes about it, I think it's pretty sound. The whole Clark Kent is the projection Superman
That's
has
his
of
costume.
humanity.
Yeah, his costume is Clark Kent. And I think the whole point of Superman is that he's becoming more human, over time, so that it's not really his costume anymore.
Yeah,
yes.
I was like, all right, I get what you're saying. You're just like, I'm not the audience for this particular part because I feel like I know a different Clark.
Yeah, and I mean, he's right. He was born Superman. That's how he was born. The clothes he was born into, the S logo that he's wearing, all that.
Born Kal-El. To me, I was like, hey, on his planet, he wasn't Superman. He was Kal-El. He was a normal fucking guy.
But that another kind of fantastical part of the movie, truth serum. That's just the
undisputed truth.
Yeah, one of my greatest inventions, if not my greatest, my favorite. Yeah, just throw it in there. Why not? How are we going to solve this conundrum, or what they call it, this or whatever? You could not stand to tell the truth to me, and I would never believe a word that you say out of your mouth. It was like the relationship it's cute, but just super toxic at the same time.
Oh you're like, you can tell they have a chemistry. Like they did have a chemistry. It was kind of impeccable, but it was like, God, this sucks. Y'all, she just needs to off his ass and get on with it. But
love the 36 chamber. That is just so cool how they paid homage to the to that, and having our boy right there in the movie legitimately, not just absolutely. Right there was so cool.
And I loved him more in this movie than I did the last. I think you get more opportunity to enjoy Pai Mei than you do Johnny Mo there with Gordon Liu's character. But fuck, man, I just want to go back and watch all the Gordon Liu stuff I can because I absolutely love that dude. But
I guess we should talk about how the name First People Die. The death in the trailer. We should the snake, how that all played out. That was pretty. I fully expected him not to make it through this transaction. $1 million for the sword. Yes, the suitcase is there, but I'm like, no way he's making it through this. It's just
no, absolutely
this
not.
Dude is dead. Whether
as soon as he offered it,
kill him. Yeah, whether Beatrix is going to come and kill him or Ellie Driver is going to kill him. He's dead either way here.
It was so funny though because it was pretty smart of Ellie Driver to set it up. The Black Mamba killed Bud.
Technically, she didn't lie there,
No. And go ahead and find this gravestone. That's where you'll be standing at the final resting place of Beatrix Kiddo, and that's where we learn her name. And I was like, oh shit, look at that. I wish it was a little bit more of a reveal. I was watching it with subtitles, and when she's getting buried alive, it says Beatrix gasps, Beatrix screams, Beatrix cries, and I was like, fuck. Her name's Beatrix.
I was watching with subtitles. I didn't even notice that at all.
Oh man!
I did kind of have it revealed right there.
I was like, fucking A. But nevertheless, it was still a cool reveal. It was still like, oh shit, dope. And
her reading, all the facts of the Black Mamba to him as he's dying, like, yeah, it like 5 milliliters can kill a human, but you got, 200 to 400 in a single bite, and that thing bit you however many times. I like the word gargantuan. Don't get to use it often. She's just like, as he's dying, she's just having her fun. She thinks,
Daryl fucking Hannah, man.
She thinks she's on top of the world there. She's carrying her suitcase out, $1 million. The only part that I'm like, yo, like what, like what's up? I'm like, where'd that snake go? I was like, how did it not bite her?
In there the whole fucking time.
I expected that. I expected her, Ellie Driver, to die by the snake and her to like bit in the ankle, because she mentioned that, like, how it would take like 4 hours, to die from a bite in the ankle. And I that's how I expected her to die. And then I expected, Beatrix to be like, well, I'm the Black Mamba. Black Mamba bit you. I'll let you suffer for 4 hours here. I'll let you die. Like, that's how I thought it was going to happen. But, pulling her eye out.
She does get left behind in the trailer. Eyeless.
That's true. Completely blind. The snake is still in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Yeah, I guess we never see her die.
Yeah, so it could be a pretty interesting little Kill Bill Volume 3 ever really gets made. Could be interesting. The potentiality of Daryl Hannah returning as Ellie Driver, but beyond that, what I'm intrigued by is the potentiality of Ambrosia Kelly returning as Nikki, the daughter to Copperhead, and fighting Maya Hawke, Uma Thurman's daughter. It's not actually Uma Thurman's daughter, but I think the older version could be played by Uma Thurman's daughter, and it'd be fucking awesome. Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter, actually, star of Training Day.
Wow. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I'm definitely, whenever Volume 3 comes out, I'm seeing it in the theaters.
There's no doubt now, man.
I'm going.
And like, I hope that actually gets made. I hope that's an actual thing that's happening. I've heard stuff about it over time, but
yeah, I really hope that it's being made. I mean, because, man, it's on his to-do list apparently. But it just hasn't yet happened yet.
Tarantino, it's on Tarantino's to-do list, huh?
Okay. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. What else is he working on? I don't. I mean, I feel like this is his bread and butter, though. I don't know. Like, this
feels like
at
you
least
need to return to the mold for a little bit, buddy.
It's my favorite Tarantino project. I don't think there's anything else by him that I like as much as this.
I need to watch a few. I haven't watched Jackie Brown in years. Inglourious Bastards. I need to give that a rewatch.
That is a good one. Is that? Yeah. No, that is really nice. I mean, killing Nazis. That's always fun. Always can get behind that. But no, I think, I don't know. Even, I mean, I've seen. I mean, knowing that movie, I still don't think stands up to Kill Bill. I don't know. I
didn't think so. This is too up my alley for me to not be into it. Like, it's such a great story, and the martial arts and the action of it all, and Uma Thurman. I fucking love Uma Thurman even before Kill Bill. So I'm really, really in.
I think she has a lock for Best Actress of the.
Feels like it as of right now. Feels like it. But
any other nominations that we can make? I mean, I think for costume design and set design and soundtrack, I think it all just kind of will group.
It's all
kind of in together. But any other supporting actresses or actors or any of that you want to nominate?
I think the guy who played Bill could be a best supporting actor.
David Carradine.
David Carradine.
Carradine. There you go.
I don't know. I'm taking a guess.
I guess, would he be supporting or just? Nah, I feel like
he's supporting.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a lead actor in this movie. I think it's but would he be the lead, and then like Bud would be a supporting actor? See, that's.
I mean, Uma Thurman, she's definitely the lead of the movie.
That's the lead,
without a doubt. But if there would be a lead actor,
it would be him.
I would say it would be him. But on the scope of the movie, I think I put
He's
him
a
down
supporting
in
character.
supporting. Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, I think that's.
I'm down for that.
where he
I'm down for
belongs.
that. But yeah, I do think he's deserving of a nomination. I really liked his presence on screen. He was I was interested as to what he was going to look like. You know, how they were going to narrow in on who Bill was. And I'll say he was not what I expected Bill to be. And then as it unfolded though, I was like, you know what? I like this character. I mean, I don't personally like him. I think he's a complete and utter fucking piece of shit. But I really, really enjoyed his presence on screen. And I love the fact that their kid's name is BB. Bill and Beatrix. BB. It's pretty awesome.
That was nice. And like how he had to say, you know, like, I don't know, the interaction they had, and he like reminded her of her name, like BB, you know, he like told her, and she was like, yeah, okay, BB, you know, like it was just, even though very, very toxic, you know, I grabbed
it was
as
so
much
nice
cuteness
to see her daughter,
yeah.
man. Like it was such a cute scene, and like the being able to like put the stuff aside for a second because that's the daughter. Like I'll let you like even Bill was like, I'll let you spend some time with your daughter for a little bit, and then we'll go see this out. Just and like it's a really interesting dynamic that they had, like this love-hate thing, and
yeah, it's all about honor, you know, to the end there, you know, like this hacienda happens to have a beautiful beach, and on this beautiful beach happens to look very good in the moonlight, and happens to be a full moon, blah blah blah, you know, be a nice sword fight, or we could wait till the sun, you know, wait till the morning for the sun to be honest, or, you know, if you want to go old school or whatever,
you know, I love the old school.
Man, yeah, that, I mean, what I will remember of this movie whenever I'm thinking about it is just going to be like that last scene right there with them two. And, you know, they didn't have, you know, a glorious fight or anything. It wasn't that actiony. I think was really cool. The way
it did have was dope.
Yeah. Like the chair, like like her, like pushing herself back up on the sword, and then sheathing, like his, like using the sheath to like block his attack basically. And then
so badass.
Did the whole heart explosion technique after that. And it was just like,
He was like, "Oh shit!
Like,
I may taught you that, huh?
Damn.
Yep. Why didn't you tell me? Kind of a bad person." And I liked his comment there too. He's like, "You're not a bad person. It's just that sometimes you can be a cunt."
And she laughed. You know, it was, and that just sums up the relationship right there. You know, like, you know, you're a terrific person. You're amazing, but you can be a cunt. And then she laughs it off. You know, I guess he's about to die. You know, I guess she's going to comfort him the most that she can. Probably still very much more pissed off at him than she is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, after it all happens, we see her sobbing with joy, saying thank you that Bill's dead and she gets to have her daughter. It's more that she gets to have her daughter. But, you know, I got my daughter and Bill's not here.
Yep. And the list is complete. 1 through 5. All crossed off.
All crossed off now.
What a way. I mean, I don't know. I imagine, like, was the first one, was it released called Volume 1, or was it called Volume 1 after Volume 2 was released?
I think it was called Volume 1. Like, I think it was always intended that this would be a 2-part flick.
That makes sense.
And I'd almost be willing to bet that they filmed them back to back.
I mean, they did come out within a year of each other, so
less than a year.
Yeah.
Like it was because I think Kill Bill Volume 1 was June and this was April.
Oh, wow, even later. Kill Bill is October.
Oh yeah, 6 months. 6 months. They didn't do that back to back, or they had to do it back to back. There's no way
April. It makes
6
sense.
months apart.
It makes perfect. They have scenes in the second one, you know, that you find the context out, you know, or like scenes from the first that you find the true context of later on. So it's like the same thing. I feel like, yeah,
it's all one story, you know. It's like you just get a little bit of a break in between, and man, I really, really enjoyed it, and it really frames the first movie up as much more of a setup movie as far as the story is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it only enhances the first one even more. Like now that I know all of this, like whenever I do go back and watch Volume 1 again, I'm gonna love it even more than I already do. Which is, I don't know, I'm super excited to, give it some time, let me rest on the movie, and then come back in like a couple weeks or a month or so and see how I feel. But man, I don't know, just what a cool world, like such a cool story.
I love it, dude. I love it so much.
Definitely, I mean, without a doubt, my favorite Tarantino project. And if I were to recommend a Tarantino flick, I'm recommending Kill Bill, because with Kill Bill 1 comes Kill Bill Volume 2. After you watch the first one.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna watch.
You're not. You shouldn't. You should not. You should watch the second one. There's like, it's just so much. It's so much more complete that way. And when she snatched Ellie Driver's eye out of her face, her other eye, like when that whole face off, dude, I fucking loved that face off in the mobile home. Whenever they face off with the swords at the other end of the hall, come together, steel meets steel, and then she just snatches her eye right out of her head. And she's like, "Ah, you fucking bitch! I'll kill you, you fucking bitch!" Ah!
Yeah, that was that'd be a shitty way to go.
Yeah.
Who knows if she's dead though? Well, I guess we don't know. Would be very interesting to see if she does come back. But
while she was like writhing in pain too, she like yelled, "Give it back!" Like that's gonna do anything.
Yeah, and oh man, I love how like she has a suitcase in hand, she's about to leave, and then she gets hit with like a flying double kick, just boom, right back in. Like, man, like what?
That was a great fight sequence.
Right before any killing happened, basically, it was got that again, which was nice. But man, I guess no anime in this one.
No anime in this one, and that's probably another example of the stylistic narrowing in. There was sort of like all right, we got it, you get it.
Man, at first, whenever Bud, is it Bud? I think that's right.
Yeah, Bud.
Yeah, whenever Bud like shot her with the shotgun, like at first, before he said like it was rock salts or whatever, I'm like, is she dead here?
Do we just kill our protagonist and then we skip to the end of the story?
I'm like, what the hell is going on? I mean, she survived a gunshot to the head, so I could see her surviving this as well if it was, whatever. But I was like, oh my god, it was kind of like a Batman moment, like whenever he he got shot with the shotgun. And I was like, wow. I mean, it's just, I don't know, not knowing where these movies are going to go at all was really nice. Like having a true blind. Like I was not spoiled any details of this movie at all. And it was awesome watching it for the first time.
And it only enhanced the first one. I like by a lot too. Like I'm even higher on both of them than I was just the first one alone,
Man, yeah, I'm eager to see if there's any more news on Kill Bill Volume 3.
Man, it'd be nice to be able to get back in the movie theater for a third installment of Kill Bill.
Apparently all this stems from a Joe Rogan Experience podcast where Tarantino was on, and he said he'd be directing Kill Bill Volume 3.
Well, we know how much we can take as fact there.
It is scripture if it comes from a Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Might as well take it as truth. But man, yeah, that'll be super interesting to see if their kid, if maybe, like her kid, I guess I don't know, because she doesn't want her to really live that life,
True enough.
But I'd say Copperhead's kid, she's gonna want revenge. I mean, that's
the driving force here. Yeah. It wouldn't just be she willingly got into the game. It'd be that like maybe Mama's taught her how to protect herself a little bit. Not trained her in the art of being an assassin, but she knows what's up. You know what I'm saying? It could be really cool. It could be really cool. And and the title of the movie, it's Kill Bill, but like not really like getting the final moments being her killing Bill. It's like, okay. Like that's very satisfactory. They told us from the get-go, this is what we're going to do. We'll kill Bill.
I mean, what's the daughter's name? Nikki. I mean, Nikki's, her origin story, if you will, is very similar to Oren's origin story. I mean, not both parents killed in front of her, but, her mother killed right in front of her. Seeing the face of the person who killed her, like she will have obviously if she does go down that path, she knows who to look for.
For sure.
But she's going to have to, I don't know, she's going to have to do some training because, I mean, Beatrix, she's one badass woman.
And Paime's gone.
Most dangerous woman on the planet. Yeah, that's, I guess Hanzo's still there. I don't know. Maybe he breaks the oath one more time. No. Why would he want?
What if Ellie Driver returns as the wise old blind master to Nikki, teaches her, and they have a duel. They both have a vendetta.
Both want to kill her. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Yes, it is.
Feel like we're
Ellie
heading in the right
Driver
direction.
and Nikki versus Beatrix and BB. Like it's just.
Feel like it could be strong.
I guess let's see who else. Bill's dead. Bud. Dead.
Everyone else is like for sure dead.
Dead. Yeah,
I guess Hattori Hanzo could still be out there. And I loved that they kept building the legend of the Hanzo sword. They were like, all right, yeah, it's worth $1 million. It's the finest sword ever created by man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, shit.
Dude,
I
loved it.
I want a sword now. Like I've always wanted a sword. Like it's just a thing that I think every guy goes through.
Oh yeah, every guy wants a sword at some point.
And but now
only the real ones act on it.
Yeah. Now I must learn the ways of the blade. I must be
all conflict must be mediated by the blade.
I mean, man, imagine like home, defense weapon, like I guess if I got a gun pointed at someone, that's one thing. But if there's a home intruder and I show up and I have blade in hand,
they're gonna be like, "All right, dude, I'm a dip. You have a good night. I'm sorry."
And if I ever have the opportunity to use a blade, I mean, come on. I'd much rather slice someone in half than shoot him in the head. If I'm going to kill someone, I don't plan on it ever. I do not plan on it ever.
I'd much rather slice someone in half than shoot him in the head. God, that is so fucking funny.
Yeah, that's where I stand on.
There's so uncivilized. The gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the blade is much more civilized. Feels much more honorable.
Man, what a way to round off August, though. This was a
yeah. It was a solid conclusion, if you ask me. It was pretty incredible. I really enjoyed this movie, and thinking about like as far as our enjoyment rating is concerned, I think it'd be fair to put it 0.5 below the first one. Or even on the same level. Because I'm feeling about the same. I don't know that I enjoyed it more than Kill Bill Volume 1 in a vacuum. I think that stylistically, first one's more entertaining to watch. One thing I will say about both movies is that while the first one's like an hour and 45 minutes, second one's 2 hours and 15 minutes, both of them fly the fuck by. They are so easy to watch. Like they just flow really, really well. So yeah, I'm thinking it's right around the first one. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'd say, I definitely would watch the first one over the second one if I'm picking, one out. But I think, like the reason you watch the second one is the satisfaction of the ending and the whole story completing itself and everything. So it's a different kind of enjoyment.
Exactly.
And this one, the reason we docked, Kill Bill Volume 1, the reason it's 485, is because we couldn't really connect with the characters as much. We couldn't connect with the movie as much. But this one, I think it's way stronger there, where it lacks the action. It picks up right where with a connection. So I don't know. I mean, I think like 4.5 is the floor.
I'm 100% there with you. I think that was a really good point you made. This is what brings in the emotional resonance with the whole story. And, for that alone, I think it's worthy of being on the same level as the first one. Like they just work too well together. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe we give it just like, maybe 0.05 below, just because of how just epic the first one is. You kind of get a little bit of connection with Beatrix, a little bit. You have the loss of a daughter. You have some things you can hold on to. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Maybe it is just better to tie it up. I don't know.
I think it feels more appropriate, because the first one, I was tempted to go, I'd be fine giving this a 4.85 and then bumping the other one to a 4.9. Like, because it did enhance the other one, and I think that's fair when we're talking sequels. But I'm also like, do we want to just perceive it in a vacuum? Which I feel like that's kind of what the project is. I don't know that we should really change the first one based on the second one. I think it's fair to just leave it as is, but I think it's very worthy of being on the same level. Because of the way that it does bring an emotional resonance to the first one. That's huge. So I'm comfortable putting it on the same level at a 4.85. Right. I'm sorry if I said 0.5 below earlier. That was a huge miscalculation. Making it a 4.35 would be an absolute mistake.
Put it with 7 with above Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It belongs higher.
It's not over there.
Definitely higher up. But as a genre, sure. Now this will be interesting. Less action. I guess what is it? I mean, probably still the same. Probably action, crime, thriller for this one, which is interesting. Drama on Volume 1, I believe, but thriller for this.
I kind of dig that. Action thriller definition of Kill Bill Volume 2. We do. I will say, I haven't felt the way I felt while she was being buried alive during a movie in a while. I was like, I was kind of breathing heavy. It was making me anxious. I was like, this is claustrophobic. And I'm just watching it.
The idea of that just sucks. That's like, like people think, like either drowning or like burning to death. Like that's the worst way to go, or something. But like buried alive where you can't eat, like where you have to stay in your own, like
eventually you'll run out of oxygen.
Everything. Yeah. It's like you'll either suffocate or starve. That's it. That's it. It's like, or not starve, you'll die of thirst first. But like you'll either suffocate first or you'll die of thirst. And like you're gonna be in your own feces and you can't leave the box. That's it. You can't move. You can barely turn over. Like being buried alive, I think, is definitely one of the worst.
That's a torturous death.
And she wasn't having it. She wasn't having that. That's not how she was going to go. But I mean, as it, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this. I feel like it doesn't. The action, obviously there's a lot less action than the first, and it's not as gory. But I think the action that is in it is more purposeful.
I agree.
So I don't know if that means it's lower or higher. I don't, I guess like the average viewer is going to say like, yes, this action is way more boring or something, along those lines. But I feel like it made more sense. It was much more story driven.
It's not action for action's sake. It's not gory for gore's sake. Like Tarantino likes to get gory just because, oh fuck, look at the blood. Like whenever it was spewing out of Boss Tanaka's head in the first movie, like, or neck. Head was gone. Like that was just so that he could do it. Like it was like, yeah, you know what, I'll do this because I can. Felt like the rest of this was very purposeful for the most part. There was not,
and I guess maybe
much spewing.
That explanation maybe weighs more into the film, as a critically, maybe that's the rating that conversation should be in.
It's relevant to the
I think
to the action genre though. It's a
True.
I think I value this more as an action thriller, and I value the drama of this movie more than I did the last one.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was just the action of it, you know, like that was kind of all I was feeling there. And
True.
so I think it deserves a little bump from the first one for genre. I think it's like probably a 4.75.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really strong, but it's not perfect, you know. Like I wouldn't say these are genre defining action movies. I think they're really good action movies.
Mm-hmm.
And this one brought a little bit more emotional resonance, so I could apply a little bit more to that drama category, and the thriller ups it a little bit too. You know, I think that's fair.
All right. Interesting to see if this will beat out the first one, because I felt like off immediate watch, I'm like, man, I like the first one a whole lot more. But now the more I'm talking about it, it's like
I will say
they're good in their own vein, but I think this would be the category where it doesn't beat out the first one.
I think it's such is the case. I think that this is dependent on the first one. The first one can stand alone, which is important in this category. I think it doesn't. I mean, that's not a huge discredit to Volume 2. That's how a sequel works. You know, it should kind of depend on the first one, but I do think that it was narrowed in focus in terms of style, which actually for me took away from the creativity of Tarantino for me. I think it was just, it felt more normal, which when I'm watching a Tarantino flick, like even the first one felt more like Pulp Fiction, and like it felt like he lost a little bit of sight of what his taste is. He just kind of, it felt like
a more safe option.
Yeah, it felt like it, you know, and I do think, like I've said, I think it is a better story, but that's because that's kind of what I feel like the focus was for this movie, and the story was huge for it.
I'd say performance-wise,
Uma ups her game a little bit. Seeing Bill, fucking awesome. He was awesome in his role.
I don't know. I felt like the soundtrack was better in the first one. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint why. It just felt more. I guess there was more intense moments in the first one. So more
it stood out.
And
like it stood out more. You know, like there wasn't a moment in this movie where I was like, "Oh shit, that song's dope." No, like it. They all just kind of happened. Like there were multiple points in the first movie where I was like, "Fucking love the soundtrack in this moment." But
and you know there were some shots that were nice to look at, but I don't think anything compared to the first. Like there were a lot more of those moments in the first, I feel.
I'd say so too. You know, it felt more normal than Tarantino usually likes to get. You know, I thought that there were, not to say that there weren't cool shots. There absolutely were. Like, you know, last movie we got the bride fighting all those men against a blue backdrop, and they're all silhouetted. You know, we see her training with Pai Mei this episode or this movie, and they're against a red background and they're silhouetted. So like, there's some cool mirroring to other things that I think is really cool amongst the movies.
Looking at the other where our film scores right now, I don't think, you know, it's not at the level that the first one was at, so it's not 4.85.
I don't think so either.
I feel, you know, Truman Show, Good Will Hunting, Dead Poets, I don't think it's up there either. Not quite. I don't know. I think it kind of fits in the same vein as his other movie, as Pulp Fiction does, in my opinion. And maybe this is a little too high still. I don't know. But I feel like...
All right, so let's weigh it against Pulp Fiction in terms of the critical appeal of it. We thought the narrative lost steam in Pulp Fiction. Like, that wasn't the focus. It was all style. It was all editing. It was all acting.
And this is the opposite.
And I feel like this lost sight of style a little bit and stuck more with the acting, the story of it. It's kind of the inverse. Now, if we're basing it off the logic of most of the things I've judged by, I usually hold story in much higher esteem than style. So my gut was splitting the difference between Apocalypse Now and Pulp Fiction and going 4.65.
I like. Let's see what that would do. That would average it out to a 4.75, and that would place it in the company with Boys in the Hood, which is interesting. Kill Bill Volume 2 and Boys in the Hood, and then would place it in between Pulp Fiction and Apocalypse Now. And I feel like that is fair. I don't think it does tie Pulp Fiction. I do feel like it does edge out Pulp Fiction a little bit.
I just enjoy the narrative here more, and I enjoy the characters more. This is the movie that makes me like Beatrix, and and I liked the acting in Pulp Fiction, but I don't give a shit about Vincent Vega. I think Jules Winfield is cool, but like I'm not like, man, I hope he makes it out. Like I don't want anything to happen to him. Like I'm like, all right, do what you will with this story, True. This one I'm like, I'm praying Beatrix is making it out of the end of this movie. I'm praying she ends up with BB. I'm praying like by the end of those last 15 minutes of the movie, man, I'm hoping Bill is the one who gets done end with.
I mean, was the title of the movie? I'm imagining he's going to die anyways. I was just holding out to see how he was going to die, basically. And I think they did it in a beautiful way. I mean, I was expecting a full sword fight, like on the beach when he was explaining that. I'm like, that'd be a cool scene, like seeing the fight on the beach and all. But nah, the heart exploding, that I mean, broke her,
powerful imagery.
Broke her heart. She broke his, however you want to view that, and then literally broke it at the end there.
Awesome.
Fucking
awesome.
Man. Yeah. I think that slots in well at a 4.75 for the average. And I think it fits well.
I believe it does as well. I'm just looking at some of the stunt choreography here. The guy who did it, Keith Adams, also did the stunt choreography for Mad Max, Fury Road, Wonder Woman 1984, The Suicide Squad, Black Widow. He was a stunt driver in that. Quiet Place Part 2 stunt driver. Man, he's done some fucking work in Hollywood. Good for him. Good for him. But yeah, this was fucking cool. I really enjoyed this movie. All in all, it was these were good additions to the 52-year journey through film.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad I have Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 in my book, in my repertoire to talk about now.
Oh yes, I've mentioned a couple weeks ago. At some point, we were talking about a movie, and I was like, I said something about how I've watched an absurd amount of movies, and the number would not be shared because it's kind of shameful. I will reveal that Kill Bill Volume 2 was the 100th movie I've watched this year.
Wow, that's it's honestly impressive. Not embarrassing. That's just impressive.
No, yeah, like I feel good about it. It's just like, wow. I don't know that there's been 100 days. We're right around 100 days, actually, it being like April 11th. But,
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was pleasantly surprised to find Kill Bill Volume 2 was my 100th.
We got it. Yeah, around. Yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, a movie a day.
Movie a day on
average.
Like
a glass of wine a day, is helpful for your body.
Yeah,
I feel like a movie a day helpful for the brain,
Helpful for the brain, especially the way that we view movies. I don't just blindly sit there and blankly stare at a screen. I take it in. I think about it. I think that's important to do. But with that, we conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. Kill Bill Volume 2 coming out to a 4.75 out of 5 on the good old Penny Bloom film scale. With that, I was Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
No, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Oh, one more thing. How's that do for our month?
Oh, yes, of course. It averages out to a 4.58, which is above June by a little bit, by 0.03. I think that makes it our third or second. Second month. It's in third place for the months so far. It goes, July, I believe, or no, sorry. May is our strongest month at 4.86, and then July at 4.78, and then it would be August at 4.58.
Shout out to Scooby-Doo, man. Saving the month.
Save the day.
Saving the month indeed. And with that, we will actually conclude. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoraBloom, where you'll find over 24 hours of exclusive content. Fund the revolution with me and keep this podcast going. It costs money, and I don't make any off of it. So it's real helpful, keeping this podcast on. And then if you would, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And bitch, you don't have a future.